Commissioner Walker.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Thank you. Sure.
Yes.
Morning, everybody. We're now ready to start the Road and Bridge zoning weekly meeting. Today's date is February 3rd, 2026. I'll go ahead and start with
First thing is probably discussion of the gas main on 29th North. There was another technical memorandum that was included, hopefully, to
We read that.
Okay.
Got it.
gas.
Did you want us to discuss that further, or do you want to talk about the
Let's probably discuss the part of that. Just go ahead and
I read it and I mean, I had hoped that we could find a way to save them some money, but I don't think we can after reading the Horrocks memo. I think we just have to go ahead and ask. And we've drafted a letter if you want us to send that out. But I'm sure. Or what's required.
We'll probably email that and also mail it. And then I will call Jake and let him know. I don't know that anybody is on the team meeting from Intermountain Gas. It doesn't look like they are.
okay.
And did the two of you just work together? I mean, we tell them they have to move it. They just keep delaying the project, or, I mean, how do we make sure it gets done? I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, what we'll do in Horrocks engineering as a representative here too, we'll just work with them and tell them that basically the new pipeline that's outside of the bridge abutment will have to be there by the time water is in April. And then the rest of it can be done as the bridge is being constructed, and all the tie-ins and the stop holes and whatever can be done as the road is progressing, and we'll put some special conditions into the on what to do to deal with that.
So Horrocks manages that or what?
Horrocks will manage most of that, but I'll be involved with coordinating if they have questions.
Okay. I'll go ahead and read just the points of the letter too. It's from the Bonner County Commissioners to Intermountain Gas. It says, after considering your input and that of our Public Works Director and Horrocks Engineering, we have decided that there is no alternative solution to relocating the gas main. We did hope to find a feasible and safe solution to avoid incurring the expense to ratepayers of moving the gas main. However, we do not feel that there is any other solution that will adequately avoid the significant risks involved in both building the bridge and the long-term settlement after construction, other than relocating the gas main outside of the construction area, bridge development area.
I will coordinate with them today and make sure they know.
Yes. We need to action. Yeah, we need to.
I'll make the motion to send the letter to Intermountain Gas as drafted and referred to, relaying to them the information that we have decided the gas main has to be relocated.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
The second item is administrative settlement for parcel 29 on the 49th Street, 49th North White project. Hopefully we're all able to read that, but I will. This won't work. So on parcel 29, this was a fairly small parcel. It's not very wide, but it opens up into a large area behind. And the appraiser had said that the highest best use for all of this land back there was probably a subdivision. So he did not have a compensation for the trees along the frontage that were going to have to be moved. So this administrative settlement does deal with those trees and add those back in to the tune of $4,900. So the total compensation would be $7,077.50.
I make a motion to accept that administrative settlement as I've reviewed it and as stated by.
Bruce, second the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next up. David has an item.
A quick claim deed. So this is the half-acre gravel pit that was brought to our attention, that the county owned. We had a title company verify that the county in fact did own this parcel. They came back saying, yes, county does. And Idaho Code 31-808.8 describes all lot property, which this falls into. As being a remnant or only having value to the funds of landowners. And it spells out steps for jurisdiction to follow to dispose of the parcel. The first of which was to record a resolution declaring it odd lot property. That was done. Resolution 2508 signed and recorded July 15th, 2025. Second step was to have a fair market value placed on it. Dustin, the assessor's office, for $1,000 as the fair market value. The adjoining landowner agreed to that. So we advertised a notice of pending sale that was done July 25th, 2025. And to my knowledge, there was no objection to the sale. And January 26th, 2026, we received a check from Mark Mulberry, who is the manager of TN Properties LLC, the adjoining landowner. So this is the last step in cleaning this up.
Make a motion to review and accept, to accept the quitclaim deed of the odd lot property to TN Properties LLC.
Second. In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Hey,
That was the last of the action items we have on the agenda. Just to give you a heads up, next week we are going to be dealing with some additional administrative settlements. Those will be added, and the descriptions of those will be probably in the packet for that.
Okay.
So there's some other action items. You have anything?
Yeah, I do have one thing. So I have a young man who is filling in for an operator at the transfer station during this operator's absence. In the past, when we've had long-term absences like this young man had a neck operation, going to be out here for a couple more months. When we move someone over to fill a position that's above their normal pay grade, we try to temporarily move them to to. Cause he's fulfilling that operator's position and he is a waste tech, we'll temporary, make that adjustment in their pay. So I have a personal action form, to make that change. I want to run that past the board first, make sure that's okay with them. And then we would do that. It probably, Elizabeth sent out a thing yesterday showing that Travis still has some time needed off. I think today is his last day on FMLA. So they'll move to that the next series of, I don't know if they'll get approval from the board to carry that, carry that on or not. She sent him some ADA stuff. I see. So that I know that they're working on keeping him active and on board and trying to get him back. So we're looking at a month, maybe 2 months.
But when you raise that, it's temporary, then does he go back to whatever he was doing before?
Yes, yeah, once Travis comes back full-time, as a full-time employee, then Skyler would go back to his waste tech position and the pay that he is currently at now.
And Ruby's okay with all of that temporary pay increase?
We've done it in the past, and I haven't ran this specific one past her. I wanted to run that past the board first before, or we can go.
It's fine with me if it's okay with Ruby, but
Okay.
that's.
And then the only other thing I had is SSI called yesterday and they will be on site first part of March with our new machine. And so they should be here last part of February, first part of March, night of June. So that is looking good too. That's all. Now the tire project's going good. My understanding is there was a nonprofit talked to you guys about getting some tires out there.
They quoted you.
They quoted me. Of course they
yes.
did. I'll bet they did.
Yeah, I talked with him Friday. It's for the gun range out there on West Broadway,
Yes.
and they want to use it to base berms and stuff and then cover up with dirt. But, what he indicated was that you had told him it would be easier for you to haul stuff out there than it would be to haul it to the land.
I think the word I used, as easy. It would be similar. It's
Right.
not, I mean, not easier, but would be as easy to go either way.
Yeah, but we would be allowed to do that to support a nonprofit group by providing them with hauling, I guess is what the concern we have.
That is, there again, that's above my pay grade. That's why if I had him come to you. My original was he needed to go to DEQ, but I think they kind of washed their hands of that real quick
That's it.
and gave it to you. I think some of the concerns is if that nonprofit was to sell that property, then the next person would,
They have to be made aware there's waste tires buried there.
yes, then they would be
They have to-
obligated to deal with that if they ever want to move on.
Yeah.
Change the purpose of that property. So I think that's some concern with DEQ. They say there's some leachability issues there, but he never, Renzi never brought that to the gentleman's attention. So could there be? Yes, but they're on top of solid rock and, and they're going to, my understanding was they were going to cover them and then seed that. So there shouldn't be a lot of moisture transferring through that anyways. Anyway, that's why, and then he said that Renzi had sent him to the board. So I hadn't heard anything back.
Like I say, I just talked with him Friday on the phone, but, that was our concern is that if they provided their own hauling, then we could probably do that, but for us to offer haul for them, I don't think that's, I think we can do that.
I have confidence there.
Yeah.
We'd have to be willing to do it for the other two gun ranges and probably the city's Noise Park. Making more bumps in Noise Park and So were they interested in unshredded tires or shredded tires?
Shredded.
Right.
That's what I thought, so really,
And what do you think, Claire?
What do I think?
About giving it to them, about hauling it, about giving it to anybody else who finds out we're giving it away?
I do believe you're going to open a can of worms by, it would be great to be able to work with nonprofits like that because, you know, they have use for that. And would it be just as easy for us to haul it out there as going to Peterson? Sure. But I think there's some legalities there, you know, obviously. And that's why I sent him the DEQ first and then he sent it. So it'd be great to work with the nonprofits, but as Commissioner Walker said, you'll do it for this guy. The next guy will find out. The next organization will find out pretty significant for everyone. So, you know,
But do you care? I mean, if somebody else wants it and wants to come and haul it away. do
If they
we-
want
what
to haul it,
Is that a problem?
oh no,
no,
as long as, and I'm really surprised, knowing what I know about the Tire Act and some of those things that the DEQ didn't say, well, there's these issues and, you know, and then I would have thought that DEQ would have called you, right, you know, one of the members and said, hey, you know, this guy wants these tires, but these are the issues and you may be required to do this later on. But they just kind of left it in the air, which I think is kind of.
Perhaps.
Do you think we should run it past Scott this afternoon? I'm happy to give it to them, but I don't want
If they
any
want.
liability.
pick it up and haul it.
Yeah.
And I worry that maybe, you know, the vagueness of DEQ makes me get that feeling that maybe later on, if something came up, you know, well, Bonneville County allowed that. So then you guys might be held accountable for a certain amount. I don't, it's probably a lot cleaner and easier to just continue what we're doing. It's, you know, I agree with Commissioner Mallard. It'd be great to work with all of them, but I just worry that there's some liability and maybe some legal, you know, behind them. So
Yeah, I think we should at least toss it out the lead.
but if they wanted to move it themselves, then that would take that
Yeah.
part of it, you know, off of your shoulders.
Overall, where are they at schedule wise, do you think, are they?
I honestly think I mean, we've already done that first portion to the fence. We've moved over to the other side and we're working our way down there. They'll have a good portion of that done by this week and, you know, by the weekend. And then, we're gonna have to come up with a strategy after we go beyond that fence, but the majority of the big tall piles, you know, he should have by this weekend, if not for the middle part of next week, and then the rest of it just kind of tapers down to nothing.
How long is it expected to take to get rid of all?
26 days is what the original bid was.
And we've
They
done
had
like
it
10
cost
days or so.
What's that?
How many days have we got under our belt?
We've been a week and 2 days.
Yes.
It started on Monday, so yeah, a week and 2 days.
Like one.
That's what it gets for crazy Mondays.
It's going good.
It is, yes.
It's moving along kind of the way we figured. A lot more rim tires than we thought, but you know, we knew they were gonna be in there. We said, well, how many? But if you, the shreds, they're running the shreds right now, the pieces, the tire pieces that were too big to meet the tire volume reduction, we're having to rerun those, the ones that they hand cut. I was gone yesterday, so I haven't got to see, you know, what that product looks like. But the operator of that machine's pretty self-conscious about making sure that those pieces are correct and the way, so they've got it. I mean, obviously he's done this before.
Yeah, it's impressive to watch this.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like he's doing anything, but he makes quite a progress, you know,
Yeah.
when the pieces are coming off the end, you're like, wow, that's gonna take forever. he does move right along. So I feel like the progress is substantial, and I think they're gonna make it in the 26 days.
Cool.
Okay. Anything else?
I do have one more. So there is a fence that cuts across that property. Do we want to try to keep that fence intact? Do we want to take that out?
Which
The
part?
tire,
the tires are-
tire,
Oh, in the middle?
yes, right, almost right dead in the middle. It's the fence is in pretty good shape. We haven't seen what the south side of it looks like, but there's a roller gate. So apparently at one time there was a series of gates right there that they opened and closed, but they're buried under the tires now. We were gonna try to get to the southern side and see if that fence was still intact and everything was good. And then maybe I'll come back and I'll ask you that question again. If it's in good shape, it might be worth keeping. If it's not, then
It's just a matter of freeing the chain, you can roll it up.
Yeah, I just,
That's probably smart.
your judgment for that.
So we'll wait till we see what the southern portion of it looks like, and if it's in decent shape or good shape, then I'll come back and ask that question again before we take it out. And that's all I have.
Anybody else? Wait. I didn't have anything. Sir.
First off, thank you for your time. I apologize for my nerves. I'm not really used to doing this type of thing. My question is, when did the sign shop become obsolete, no longer part of the road and bridge? Specifically, why David and I were not included in the recent pay raises that everybody else received.
We'll rectify that. I
So,
apologize. Had no idea.
so last year in the budget request, I proposed to increase wages for truck drivers and for equipment operators because we've had difficulty in hiring truck drivers. It wasn't necessarily an oversight. It was what I felt like we could get through at the time. And if you remember the requests that we made requests for bumping the salaries for the equipment operators and the truck drivers and doing some other things as well, hiring new people. The new people request was turned down as well as some of the other pay raises that I requested. So this was just, we can't do everything all at once. We looked at certain things and we tried to pull through requests for different raises when we felt like we had enough justification to do so. It was our intention to raise people's salaries or wages as we can. And so it was.
So you got your COLA increase, didn't you? Your cost of living?
Yes, ma'am. I got the 3% going.
Because otherwise in our budget season, we did not give raises to many people except the ones that we were losing employees from because they were going to other places for higher wages. So law enforcement, I think, was some of that. And I know that some of Lance's people were, but not all of them.
Yeah.
So that's what I just recall off the top of my head. And what we understood from the past commissioners was that these substantial cost of living increases that have happened over like before we came in, like this year, we have very limited budgets to give increases to. But in the 3 or 4 years before that, there had been like 5%, 3% cost of living increases. And those cost of living increases, the previous commissioners had put in place to try and raise all the county employee salaries up to where they were more comparable to other county salaries, county employee salaries surrounding.
My concern is I'm fine with all that. We're still called out to go flag for road and bridge projects, taken off of what we're supposed to be doing. We're called out to trim trees in middle of mile, which is a road prop issue, not a sign issue. I've been personally called in to be a backup sander, plow driver, obviously not this year, but I have in the past.
We keep hoping.
It's gonna hit right about the time riding season starts.
Right.
I think, I mean, what I think I may be hearing here is that it sounds like you think everybody but signs got an increase beyond COLA at Road and Bridge.
It's my understanding that everybody besides the immediate office staff, which I feel is wrong, and Dave and I, yes, they have received raises.
I don't think that's true, but I couldn't speak to that specifically because it's so long since budget season.
It's been a process. The mechanics were raised up a few years ago because we weren't able to hire mechanics. And that was just the mechanics. And then the next step was the truck drivers and operators. So we're kind of taking this a bite at a time and trying to figure out how the increases, what limited they are in wages, can be spread across. But not everybody all at once can receive wage adjustments or grade adjustments. We don't have the incoming revenues that would support that.
Maybe, well, yeah, that we can look into it and see what we can do, but it should have to be for the next budget year, I imagine.
And that was what our plan was, is to come back, and some of the ones that haven't received that was to put them in for this budget request and we'll put it in as a request, so.
That was my plan as well. Part of my group got those increases and then I'm part of it. And so that was my hope is this year, you know, we could make those adjustments in those budgets and see if there's enough money to support that. So, you know, that was my plan also, is to come back and ask for some increases for the base tech position. You know, we'll see what we have and try to revenue things.
Well, last year was certainly not as good as previous years as far as revenue that we had to spend for ongoing expenses. And this year, I think it's going to be worse. Getting clawbacks from the states, most likely. Well, we know they've cut $5 million from what we were anticipating receiving for road projects this year from the state. And we already know we won't get that $5 million, 5.5. Well, ours was 3.5, I think, plus the ambulance. And what we always have to look at is what we can sustain going forward whenever it comes to salaries. And so that's why they kind of trickle through, is because every year we have to know that we will always be able to pay that increase going forward. So that's what I can tell you about the process. The specifics of road and bridge, you know, you might have to talk to plans about, because I remember it being targeted to employees because they could not fill positions and could not keep them filled
It was.
once we got the raises. And I remember for sure there was one raise that was requested that it was not received.
I disagree with your statements, simply due to the fact that, again, we're called upon in sign shop to help out with road projects, not just taking signs out and placing them. I spent a good portion of last year's chip seal required to be a flagger for the mobile operations. I've been there for 10 years. I've gone through my scholar and roadmaster to assist the county in getting their extra grant money from that. But I feel like I'm being treated as a Verizon customer. Hey, let's give the new guys money. Forget about the people who've been here forever. So thank you for your time.
We definitely will look at it really closely this year. Sorry to treat it that way.
We're just the redhead stepchild. We're asked to do everything and forgot about. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I was just here to provide support.
Appreciate all the support. Stay with the city, right?
Okay, thanks, then I guess.